Nice to meet you. That's what I made before.
Hi.
Good to see you. Okay?
Yeah, all good.
12 months on, it was obviously a really emotional game for you.
Yeah. From last time you met, yeah, it was like disappointed moment in my career and my life. Go out to the field, you know, in the final Champions League. It was so bad after the season we had together. So it was very disappointing for me.
Yeah, it was unusual as well because you're very strong. You don't get injured.
Yeah.
I mean,
so when I go down, that's mean injury.
Did you know straight away that it was really serious?
I felt something. I just felt something strange in my body when I felt in my shoulder. So I said, hopefully it's not serious. So the doctor came in, then I go out, then I say, okay, now it's fine, I can move it. But when I was running, I just felt something like
too much.
Yeah, so I have to stop.
And describe to us how that felt.
It's very bad, to be honest. Like, I don't want, always when I describe that, I get emotional. But you know, it's something bad. You had a good season, very good season, and you played the final Champions League after what you did with the team and what after the team did, all of us together. So also you after 1 month you played the World Cup after 28 years with your national team. So all of that comes to my mind. You know, the time I go to the ground, it was very bad for me. Just when the doctor came and I go out, and I say, I don't know what's going on, so I have to carry on now to see. Then when I went out, when I went off after that, I was like, okay, the final Champions League, I'm out now. Probably the World Cup was I'm out now, so everything was black.
But 12 months on, you get another go, because at the time, that might be your only ever Champions League final.
Yeah, honestly, but it's in that day, I said, yeah, but we never know how many times you play the final Champions League. But the day after, I say, okay, everything in my hand, I take it like that. It's not in my hand, but I mean here that you have to play it many times, not only one time. So in the day after, I was like, okay, now we have to looking forward for the next one. I don't have to just still crying and think about the bus. The bus is past. So now you have to think about now and the future. So it was in my mind that I want to play again. So here we are.
You will play again.
Hopefully, yes.
Did the small boy growing up in Egypt ever really think that he would play in games like this?
No. It was a dream. You know, it was a dream that to play in that competition. You know, when I was in my village and watching that games, like, wow, this is Champions League. But now when I sit with myself alone, then I say, wow, I'm playing the Champions League final. So I played already last year, and I'm going to play now. It's something huge for me.
I read that you used to have to go a long way to train.
Yep.
When you were young.
It was like 4.5 hours or 5.5.
Every day?
Every day.
Wow.
No, just one way.
One way?
Yeah, so 9 hours a day, probably.
Really? 9 hours a day?
Yeah, so
5
you go
foot?
4.5 and you come back 4.5.
Yeah.
And I need to change like 4 transport, like cars, so transport. Because you go with like one car for half an hour, another car for 2.5, another one for 1 hour, something like that. Yeah. So you have to, the way back the same. So yeah,
that shows a great determination and a will to be a footballer. You must have absolutely really wanted.
I had nothing to do, nothing else to do. Just I'm playing football. I love to play football. It was my life. So
you weren't, you know, obviously you've become a great player. The last few seasons, your goal scoring records, but you were kind of a slow developer in that sense, really, weren't you? Because you obviously started in Egypt, then you got the move to Europe, etc.
Yep.
It's been a gradual process. It wasn't an immediate early success.
I think because the culture is very difficult for us. Like you came from Egypt to Switzerland, like what? It's two cultures completely different. The timing, to respect your time, I mean, to be in time, that's something different. The hard work you do, it's like something different. Sometimes in Egypt, I used to sleep like 6 in the morning. Here, if I sleep 6 in the morning, I'm not playing anymore. So
it must have been was it a big change for you when you first came to Europe?
Absolutely, yeah. Very, very big.
What was the hardest thing?
The language. I couldn't speak English, so I was walking the street talking Arabic to everyone, so they have to understand me. So it was difficult, the language. I couldn't speak English. I have to learn English. Then also the hard work they do, they train 2 hours. They give everything 2 hours, the attention, the focus, the concentration, everything that 2 hours. But in Egypt, I wasn't like that. It was like, yeah, you have 2 hours, you could be a little bit slow, you could be a little bit tired. That doesn't work here. So I need to change my mentality and I need to develop myself.
Different work ethic completely in many ways. How long do you think it took you to change? Do you think it was after you went to Chelsea, after you were on loan to Italy?
I think...
Gradually, maybe?
No, I think it's changing my mentality from my first day in Switzerland, because I know how much I want to succeed. So the how can I say it? Like, what really I love about myself is I want to really succeed, and I can do anything just to be better person and better player. So in my mind, I need to change, or otherwise I have to come back to Egypt. So that's not an optional for me. So I need to change myself. So from my first day in Basel, I said, okay, I need to change myself now. It was hard, of course, especially with the language, but I have no other option. Yeah. So it takes also all my willpower to change my mentality in Switzerland. So I was really able to change myself, my mentality, my mind, everything. So that's what I did in Basel. So it immediately takes time, but I mean, in that time I was able to change in Basel.
And you did very well there. You were Footballer of the Year.
Yeah.
And then of course you were signed by Chelsea, and that was ended up being a bit difficult.
Yeah, you know.
Why do you think? Were you not ready, do you think, or is it just a big change again?
Honestly, it's of course it's, you know, a kid come from Egypt to Chelsea, you know, after 1 year and a half, like it's difficult. In Chelsea, you go to the dressing room, you see big names, big players, you love them when you were kids. That was just in the beginning, but after that I played first 6 months. Then I was not able to play the second 6 months. So, but that's what I felt about myself. I was working hard every day, developing myself every day. So I didn't play much. I don't know what's the reason. So
were you frustrated? Footballers are frustrated when they don't play.
Yeah. I think I was like mentally, after I was not playing, it was very difficult for me mentally. I said to myself, I need to leave because as a star in Egypt, everyone is looking at you like, yeah, he need to play. So I saw every day in the media. I was also young, 21, 22, so the media was like putting more pressure on me. Then I couldn't handle that, and it was really difficult because as a star in Egypt and like 100 million is looking at you and writing everything about you, and probably most of the time they write something fake, because I don't know why they wrote stories from their mind. So it was like hurting me inside. So I said, no, I'm here.
Was that a really difficult time for you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The most difficult time for me, but I said to myself also, this is the most important time for me to learn. I had learned already in my career, because it's helping me to develop as a person, as a man, in my head. So it was really difficult. Really, it's the most difficult time in my career.
How good was Italy for you?
It's like they give me the chance to play football back. Like the guy, he came from Egypt, that was the best player in Switzerland. He's back. I played.
The smile was back on the field.
Yes, the smile was back in the field. I think in Chelsea I couldn't smile because it was too much pressure.